Dear friends, Jai Bhim. I am going to read the chapter What is Nibbana from the book The Way to Nibbana by Venerable Narada from Sri Lanka. The book is published by Buddhist Culture Center, Sri Lanka. I have already made different videos on previous chapters about Nibbana, meditation, loving kindness, compassion. So you must go through those videos. And now let us start. What is Nibbana? Nibbana is the summum bonum of Buddhism. However clearly and descriptively one may write on this profound subject, however glowing may be the terms in which one attempts to describe its utter serenity, comparison of Nibbana is impossible by mere perusal of books. Nibbana is not something to be set out in print, nor is it a subject to be grasped by intellect alone. It is a supramundane state to be realized only by intuitive wisdom. A purely intellectual comprehension of Nibbana is impossible because it is not a matter to be arrived at by logical reasoning. The words of the Buddha are perfectly logical, but Nibbana, the ultimate goal of Buddhism, is beyond the scope of logic. Nevertheless, by reflecting on the positive and negative aspects of life, the logical conclusion emerges that is contradistinction to the conditioned phenomenal existence. There must exist a sorrowless, deathless, non-conditioned state. The Jatak commentary relates that the Bodhisattva himself, in his birth as the ascetic Sumedha, contemplated thus: even as although misery is, yet happiness is also found. So though indeed existence is, non-existence should be sought. Even as although there may be heat, yet grateful cold is also found. So though the threefold fire exists, likewise Nibbana should be sought. Even as although there evil is, that which is good is also found. So though 'tis true that birth exists, that which is not birth should be sought. Definition: the Pali word Nibbana, or in Sanskrit it is called as Nirvana, is composed of Ni and Van. Ni is a negative particle. Van means weaving or craving. The craving serves as a cord to connect one life with another. This is called Nibbana in that it is departure, Ni, from that craving which is called Van, lusting. As long as one is bound up by craving or attainment, one accumulates fresh karmic activities which must materialize in one form or other in the eternal cycle of birth and death. When all forms of craving are eradicated, reproductive karmic forces ceases to operate, and one attains Nibbana, escaping the cycle of birth and death. The Buddhist conception of deliverance is escape from the ever recurring cycle of life and death and not merely an escape from sin and hell. Nibbana is also explained as the extinction of the fire of lust, that is lobh, hatred, that is dosh, and delusion, that is moh. Lust, hatred, delusion. The whole world is in flames, says the Buddha. By what fire is it kindled? By the fire of lust, hatred, and delusion, by the fire of birth, old age, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. Is it kindled? Nibbana, in one sense, may be interpreted as the extinction of these flames. One must not thereby. I would say that these flame for the word flame you can also substitute the word craving for these cravings of lust, hatred, and delusion. One must not thereby infer that Nibbana is nothing but the extinction of these flames. The means should be differentiated from the end, where the extinction of the flames is the means of attaining Nibbana. Is Nibbana nothingness? To say that Nibbana is nothingness simply because one cannot perceive it with the five senses is as illogical as to conclude that light does not exist simply because the blind do not see it. In a well known fable, the fish, who was acquainted only with water, arguing with the turtle, triumphantly concluded that there existed no land because he received no to all his queries. Once upon a time there was a fish, and just because it was a fish, it had lived all its life in the water and knew nothing whatever about anything else but water. And one day, as it swam about in the pond where all its days had been spent, it happened to meet a turtle of its acquaintance who had just come back from a little excursion on the land. "Good day, Mr. Turtle," said the fish. "Have not seen you for a long time. Where have you been?" "Oh," said the turtle, "I have just been for a trip on dry land." "Oh, dry land!" exclaimed the fish. "What do you mean by on dry land? There is no dry land. I have never seen such a thing. Dry land is nothing." "Well," said the turtle, "good, naturally. If you want to think so, of course you may. There is no one who can hinder you. But that is where I have been all the time, all the same." "Oh, come," said the fish, "try to talk sense. Just tell me now, what is this land of yours like? Is it like wet?" "No, it is not wet," said the turtle. "Is it nice and fresh and cool?" asked the fish. "No, it is not nice and fresh and cool," the turtle replied. "Is it clear so that light can come through it?" "No, it is not clear, light cannot come through it." "Is it soft and yielding so that I could move my fins about it and push my nose through it?" "No, it is not soft and yielding. You could not swim in it." "Does it move or flow in streams?" "No, it neither moves nor flows in streams." "Does it ever rise up into waves then with white foams in them?" asked the fish, impatient at this string of no's. "No," replied the turtle truthfully, "it never rises up into waves that I have seen." "There now," exclaimed the fish triumphantly, "didn't I tell you that this land of yours was just nothing I have just asked, and you have answered me that it is neither wet nor cool, not clear nor soft, and that it does not flow in streams nor rise up into waves. And if it isn't a single one of these things, what else is it but nothing? Don't tell me. Well, well, said the turtle, if you are determined to think that dry land is nothing, I suppose you must just go on thinking so. But anyone who knows what is water and what is land would say you are just a silly fish, for you think that nothing you have never known is nothing just because you have never known it. And with that, the turtle turned away, and leaving the fish behind in its little pond of water, set out on another excursion over the dry land, and that was nothing. It is evident from this significant story that neither can the turtle who is acquainted with both land and sea explain to the fish the real nature of land, nor can the fish grasp what is land since it is acquainted only with the sea. In the same way, arhats, who are acquainted with both the mundane and the supramundane, cannot explain to a worldling what exactly the supramundane is in mundane's terms, nor can a worldling understand the supramundane merely by mundane knowledge. If Nibbana is nothing, then it necessarily must coincide with space or Akas. Both space and Nibbana are eternal and unchanging. The former is eternal because it is nothing in itself, the latter is spaceless and Nibbana. It may briefly be said that space is not, but Nibbana is. The Buddha, speaking of the different planes of existence, makes special reference to a realm of nothingness. The fact that Nibbana is realized as one of the mental objects decidedly proves that it is not a state of nothingness. If it were so, the Buddha would not have described its state in such terms as infinite, non-conditioned, incomparable, supreme, highest, beyond, highest refuge, safety, security, happiness, unique, abodeless, imperishable, absolute purity, supramundane, immortality, emancipation, peace, etc. See, you can read the book by E. Baptist called 31 Planes of Existence. I think that's the book's name. I have given that reference in my another video. In the Uddan and Ituvitak, the Buddha refers to Nibbana as follows. There is, O bhikkhus, an unborn, unoriginated, unmade, and non-conditioned state. If, O bhikkhus, bhikkhus are monks, if, O bhikkhus, there were not this unborn, unoriginated, unmade, and non-conditioned, an escape from the born, originated, made, and conditioned would not be possible here, as there is an unborn, unoriginated, unmade, and non-conditioned state. An escape for the born, originated, made, conditioned is possible. The Ituvitak states, the born become produced, compounded, made, and thus not lasting, but of birth and death, an aggregate, a nest of sickness, brittle, a thing by food supported, come to be, twere, not fit, thing to take delight in such. The escape therefrom, the real beyond the sphere of reason, lasting, unborn, unproduced, the sorrowless, the stainless path that ends, the things of woe, the peace from worries, bliss. The Nibbana of Buddhists is therefore neither a state of nothingness nor a mere cessation, but it is not one can definitely say. What precisely it is, one cannot adequately express in conventional terms, as it is unique. It is for self realization. Sopadisa and Anupadisesa, Nibbana Dhatu. References are frequently made in the books to Nibbana as Sopadisesa and Anupadisesa Nibbana Dhatu. These in fact are not two kinds of Nibbana, but the one single Nibbana, receiving its name according to experience of it before and after death. Nibbana is attainable in this present life itself, if the seeker fits himself for it. Buddhism nowhere states that its ultimate goal can be reached only in a life beyond. Here lies the difference between the Buddhist conception of Nibbana and the non Buddhist conception of an eternal heaven which is attainable only after death. When Nibbana is realized in the body, it is called Sopadises Nibbana Dhatu. When an Arhat attains Parinibbana after dissolution of the body, all without any remainder of any physical existence, it is called Anupudises Nibbana Dhatu. In the Ittuvitak, the Buddha says, there, O bhikkhus, two elements of Nibbana with the bliss still remaining. Herein, O bhikkhus, a bhikkhu is an arhat, one who has destroyed the defilements, who has lived the life, done what was to be done, laid aside the burden, who has attained his goal, who has destroyed the fetters of existence, who rightly understood is delivered. His five sense organs still remain, and as he is not devoid of them, he undergoes the pleasant and the unpleasant experiences. That destruction of his attachment, hatred, and delusion is called the element of Nibbana, with the basis still remaining. What, O bhikkhus, is the element of Nibbana without the bliss? Herein, O bhikkhus, a bhikkhu is an arhat, is delivered. In this very life, all his sensations will have no delight for him. They will be cooled. This is called the element of Nibbana without a bliss. These two Nibbana states are shown by him who seeth who is such and unattached. One state is that in this same life possessed with base remaining, though becoming is stream, be cut off, while the state without a base belongeth to the future, wherein all becomings utterly do come to cease. They who, by knowing this state uncompounded, have hearts released by cutting off the stream, they who have reached the core of Dham, glad to end, such have abandoned all becomings. This end of this chapter, I have to finish this. My grandmother is crying, she is sleeping. This is the book from which I was reading about the Buddhist concept of Nibbana. You may or you may not understand this, but don't worry. Just practice loving kindness, compassion, and go with the other videos, understand things. I will also understand things, you will also understand things. Thank you very much. Jai Bhim, Namo Buddhaya.